We say to girls,
what is your podcast?
you can have ambition, but not too much.
Gonna be yapping and cackling away?
Naturally.
If I looked feminine, I would not be taken seriously.
I'm just a girl.
It's amazing how much you can get if you quietly, clearly, and authoritatively demand it.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
It's kind of weird.
So you don't know somebody. You don't have to be like, yeah, we're like super besties.
Yeah.
But to say that you don't know somebody, red flags.
Red flag city.
So many red flags. See, I don't know why people do weird stuff like that. And
people do weird things.
I
Yeah.
had this happen recently where I had a friend who started acting different. And that's the thing about us ADHD girlies is we have that pattern recognition. So if you start acting different, I notice. I immediately notice. And I don't say it because I want to see how deep you're going to dig your little hole. But I notice. And so I asked this person, I was like, hey, so like, what's going on? And then they told me not the full truth. And I'm like, why would you lie about this? That's a really weird thing to lie about. So we haven't gotten to the full extent of that little investigation, but
Oh, interesting.
I don't know why men feel the need to lie about weird things. Just be
right?
honest.
Just be honest. It's fine. We're all adults.
Yeah.
At least we are on this podcast today. Oh, well, hi, everyone. I'm Amber Haley. I'm coming to you from the Big Island of Hawaii.
I am Rebekah Daniels, coming to you from Washington State. A cold and dreary, rainy place, except for in the summers. It's beautiful. Actually, don't tell the Washingtonians I said that because they want everyone to think that it is hideous here year round so that you do not move here.
Oh,
but I'm
yes.
a real estate agent, so I'm going to tell you the truth.
Yeah, so everyone move to Washington and call Rebekah Daniels. She's a great real estate agent over there, and tell her I sent you.
Yes.
I hope everyone from the state of Washington is listening in today and from the state of Hawaii. So hi everybody.
Hello,
let's
girls.
see. We're just a couple girls in the market. What are we talking about today?
So, Amber, would you say that as agents, we wear a lot of hats?
Oh, definitely. We definitely wear many hats.
So many hats.
So
And
many.
one of those hats that we wear is educating our clients, especially
Yes.
first-time home buyers, right? Because they've never done this before. They need a little bit more guidance.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you've had to educate a guy that you're seeing or give him some extra guidance?
Is this a trick question? Of course. Of
Have you
course,
noticed
yeah.
it? Okay, so I've noticed this. Obviously, it happens with all men, I think, to an extent. But there is something about younger men that reminds me a lot of working with first-time home buyers.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me more.
And, this kind of came to mind because I had a date with a younger guy the other day. And as we're going through it, and we've been talking for a little bit, it reminded me about a lot of the good and the bad about dating a younger guy. Have you dated a younger guy?
Yes, I have. I've dated some younger guys. Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
there's some good and bad, right?
Uh-huh.
There is the level of education that's required. It's almost like you have to get on the same playing field. So like this guy is 5 years younger, which I think that's the youngest I've gone. When I was younger, I was never about dating younger guys. I'm like, that's weird. Guys are super immature. Like I want somebody who's mature and like has his life together. So I tended to date like much older.
Yes.
They did not have their lives together. Let me just tell you that right now.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Age does not actually help you with these things.
Yeah, it's really kind of a phrase that I'm learning more and more that somebody taught me is it's kind of more of a phase of life thing than an age thing. And sometimes they really, really correspond with your age and your phase of life. And sometimes they don't. So
Yeah.
interesting.
So what I found with older guys is they seem to be like they're a little stuck in their ways. They have their way of doing things. They have their mindset of stuff. And it's really hard to give them guidance, even if they need it, because they think that they know best.
Right.
sometimes we get that with some of our clients too, who like they've done this. They're like, yeah, I bought and sold my house 20 years ago. I know exactly how it goes. Like, don't even try to give me advice. Don't try to give me guidance. I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
And we're just like, well, the real estate market has changed in the last 20 years.
It has changed since
you
the
maybe
80s.
need a little bit more guidance than you think.
Yes.
But with first-time home buyers, they have no idea. They don't know what they don't know. And so sometimes it's a lot easier to give them that guidance and to kind of take them through the process. And they're like, yeah, I agree with you. I believe you. I trust you. Teach me how to do all of this.
You're right. It is true. And so a first-time home buyer, a lot of them, I mean, there's always going to be in any situation, in any career, in anything, the type of personality that is a know-it-all. Even if they are the first time at something, they know how to do it. They are the expert. They have written the book on it, and they will tell you how to do your job. This is not like dogging on anybody. This is just personalities. No. Yeah. Okay. So yes, but I would say in general, most first-time home buyers that I work with, and by the way, I love working with first-time home buyers. It's so special. But most of them are very, very open to learning. They want more information. They're really energetic. They're really excited. They want to be guided through things. They want feedback. Are they doing this right? They're very, very willing to be guided in different things and learn. So yeah.
And they don't take it as like a personal attack that you're giving them this wisdom or guidance. They're just like, oh yeah, tell me what to do.
Yeah, like
Take
kind of
me
a less
this process.
less of a chip on their shoulder sometimes of somebody who's maybe bought or sold like real estate a lot in the past. I also work with a lot of people who relocate too, and I'm sure you have as well. And as you know, and other real estate agents who are listening know that when you buy real estate in different states and different countries, there's a lot of different rules and guidelines and timelines and things that are really unique. So even if you have bought tons of property and sold tons of property in one state, you know, if you're going to Washington state and working with Rebekah Daniels, the process is going to be different. So you want to trust your real estate agent to guide you if it's your first time in that state.
I love that this is the episode that we're really wanting everyone to listen to. Everyone in all the states, listen to this episode as we talk about how I, in some ways, prefer dating younger guys over older guys. And we try to relate it back to real estate.
Wow. Okay. So you actually prefer dating younger guys over older guys.
Yeah. And so this is kind of the epiphany that I came to the first time I dated somebody who was younger. Because again, like I said before, I was not about this. I thought they were super immature.
Yeah.
And just like, no, didn't want to deal with it. Didn't want to deal with the games, which I still don't want to deal with the games.
Yes.
But there was this younger guy who was pursuing me. And I was a little resistant at first, but you know, he had his life together. He owned a business. You know, he was mature, even though he was like 4 years younger. And then, you know, we got into it. And I was like, you know, this is kind of fun. He has more energy. He's just more fun. He's not all like, oh, let's just sit at home and watch TV all day. And it's just, I don't know. It felt like where we were at in our lives and what we were wanting to do matched up a lot
phase of
more.
life.
Phase of life versus like guys in their 40s.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you guys are just kind of like, they have it set. You know, guys in their late 20s, we're a little bit more. Let's be adventurous. Let's enjoy things.
Yeah.
So
no, I
it
totally
changed my mind.
No, I do see that. I think I've probably dated more guys who were younger than me, some significantly younger than me. And I don't think it was ever an intentional choice. You know, it wasn't like I had an age bracket. In fact, if I had an age bracket, like, you know, on a dating app, I spent 3 weeks on a dating app in my whole life.
That's honestly
it wasn't
3 weeks too long.
3 weeks too long. So that's, you know, the only time I can really think where you're like literally checking boxes, you know, and you put like an age range. I think if I put that out in the world of like who I'm actually looking for, I wouldn't have met a lot of the people that I have dated, for better or worse. But because I would have said, no, there's no way I would date somebody that young. But when it's like an organic connection and then you kind of realize the age difference later.
Like,
That's what's happened to me. I think every time that I've dated somebody, especially significantly younger, we just didn't realize.
Yeah. And, you know, I think that's one of the things to kind of touch on is the things that you don't realize
Yeah.
before you get into that, where there's almost like a different language that's
Mm-hmm.
being spoken. There's different perceptions of things. Like, even though a 4-year age gap isn't that much, it kind of is, because like you've gone through high school totally different times, you've gone through college
Yeah.
totally different times. So a lot of these like big milestones that lead into adulthood, different culture, different lingo, different, you know, pop culture references, and different approaches to dating and life compared to where I'm at, or, you know, other people are at. And that's kind of been one of those things that I'm like, oh, you handle things a little bit differently than I
Yeah.
would want or expect. And I don't know how I
Yeah.
feel about that.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think you and I probably both agree, and probably a lot of people would say that age doesn't really matter, right? Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter. But then there is a point, and I think I've heard that for most people, just, you know, realistically, it's about maybe 10 years, a 10-year age gap, regardless of if it's a man or a woman who's older, that things really, it really can create not necessarily conflict, but like differences in the things
Kind of
you're saying,
breakdown.
references, you know, ways you were raised, all of that. So it's not nothing. It's not
Right.
nothing.
It's
Yes.
it's different cultures in a
Yeah.
sense.
I mean, it really is. I've never dated anybody with more than a 10-year. I mean, like, I've maybe gone on like one date with somebody who was, but they were the older one then. Yeah, I think more than 10 years. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. There certainly can be things wrong with it, you know, in certain situations, but that's not really about the age in the end. It's usually not
It's
about
the
the
person.
age.
Yeah.
It's about other things.
So one thing I noticed is technology, common
Oh,
technology
technology.
that's being used. So like with this first younger guy, he was all about Snapchat. And I was like, okay, so I guess I'll re-download Snapchat and get on
Oh
there.
gosh. Snapchat.
And-
If I had to download Snapchat for a man at this point in my life, like, for that reason, I'm out.
Mistakes are made.
Mistakes have been made. Okay. Yes.
But what if that's how your client communicates?
It's
So
true, and we
there's-
deal with that. I still have the occasional client where we don't have a cell phone. We don't do email. Have you had one of those lately? We don't do email. We don't do electronic signatures. So we go in person and we wet ink and we explain things and we use a printer and that's very, very different from, you know, the youngest buyers on the market right now who will sign, you know, their closing documents on their cell phone.
Yep. It's very different. I've gone through that same process with some of my older clients where I'm going to go to your house with all of the paperwork and we're going to do it all together and figure it out and kill all the trees. But that's what they're comfortable with. We bridge that gap, if you will. And same thing with our younger clients who are like, do not call me, only text me.
Yes.
Or only email me. Is what some of them are even saying. They're like, I never check my texts. I never check my phones. So just send me an email. And I'm like, okay. But, you know, it's kind of different with dating where honestly, for most of the guys that I date, I'm like, don't text me because it's going to get lost in the 300 plus text messages that I have on my phone. DM me on Instagram. That's the preferred method of communication for me.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
What about you?
Well, my preferred method of communication in all of my markets is actually just text messages on my phone. I don't like DMs. Clients, I don't like DMs really from anybody except for my friends. As long as they're not expecting
memes, and that's it.
Yes, it's a great place to send memes. It's a great place to send audio messages sometimes with your friends, as long as there's no expectation of replying anytime soon. But you know, that's just not the world that we live in. So if I could only communicate via text message, I mean, email's fine, but emails, our inboxes are so full. Like it gets to be a lot. So yeah, I'm a texter. Personally. But I do accommodate for clients. Obviously, everybody's different, and I think with dating, like you can kind of train people. Just to communicate the way that you like to communicate, and also you compromise a little bit if it doesn't line up with exactly with what you want. You know?
Yeah, there's definitely that time at the beginning of the relationship with either a client or significant other person where you're setting the expectations of, hey, this is how I communicate, this is what I expect. If you're asking me on a date, I expect it to kind of follow this formula. Don't say, hey, we should go out sometime. Give me a date and a time and a place. Otherwise, it's never going to happen. And I'm going to continue
truly.
it my very way. And within, the first time homebuyer consultation, you're setting up a lot of those expectations of this is what it looks like to buy a house. This is what our communication cadence is going to be. I'm going to do X, Y, Z for you. I'm going to do updates on these times. This is how we're going to set up showings, and really making sure that they understand how to work through that process. Because again, they've never done this before. So they don't know how they're supposed to do things.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like they like different cadences of communication and styles of communication. I like to ask because I like to know. Mm-hmm. And I also, the way I handle that is, I say, all my contact info is in the footer of my email, and you feel free to call or text me or email me anytime. I won't respond at any time. If I'm out of the office or with another client, you'll get my inbox, and I usually also even say I'm not in my inbox all day because I can't do my job. I can't work for you if I'm in my inbox all day. So expect, I'll try to answer it as soon as possible right away, but it might take 24 hours. And the fastest way to get a hold of me is a phone call. Yeah. Text messages are great too, and then I kind of work with them. I give them options, and I let them know what to expect as far as like a response time generally as well. And I think that helps. And gosh, I wish we did that more in the dating world. With friendships, I feel like you just learn what to expect from different people and adjust accordingly. But it's really hard when you're getting to know new people, new friends, or like new dating relationships, what to expect.
Like, how do you set that up at the beginning? Like, hey, person I just met, this is what I need from you. They'd be like, that's really weird. Why would you?
I know.
Why would you say that?
But I just wish it wasn't that weird.
Naturally.
I wish it wasn't that weird, because it would cause me a lot less anxiety in my life. Because for some people really just don't like text messaging. Yeah. They just don't like it, and it's nothing to do with you. They probably love talking to you, but they just don't want to text all day. And also, how about this? I have one for you, Becca. How about just the drop-in FaceTime video out of nowhere?
You know what? I'm here for it.
She's here for it.
I'm here for it. Give me actually,
I think it's aggressive.
No, let me tell you what's aggressive with drop-in FaceTimes. I had this random agent FaceTime me without his shirt on. Oh. And he's like, oh, I don't know how I did this. And I'm like, I don't know how you did this either.
Okay, well, that's an accident.
Is it? Is it? Because he was propped. He was ready.
Wow.
He had his phone up. It's not like it was on the floor. It was up, and he's like, oh, I don't know how I FaceTimed you.
Wow. Yeah, we might need to investigate that one a little more. But I do think the FaceTime without like maybe a quick text, unless this is a normal thing in this relationship, whatever the relationship is, client, friend, dating, whatever. Unless this is a normal thing, I think it's an aggressive move. I think it's also much easier for men. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it.
I will FaceTime my people without warning. I have shirts on when I'm doing it, but
why is
it aggressive? It's the same thing as like a phone call. If the person doesn't want to chat, they can always have their camera off.
Yeah, that's true. It's just like, if you're going to FaceTime me at 7 a.m, like, cool. With no warning, just honestly anytime. I'm going to say anytime. If you're going to FaceTime me anytime, or day or night, and you have never done that before, we've never FaceTime before, and you're not going to warn me being like, hey, is this a good time for you? It feels aggressive, okay? It feels aggressive. Like, I look a hot mess. I'm in the middle of 75 things. Like, how dare you?
Just don't answer.
Well, trust me, I don't.
Putting out the request, is not like you have to answer it. I find it to be a delightful surprise when I'm like, oh, this person is FaceTiming me.
Or how about the social media? The social media video chat. I mean, that's suspicious. That's an automatic always decline.
You are calling me out on all the things that I'm doing, Amber.
That's fine. Different things for different people. That's why we all communicate differently.
This is where the generational difference comes in. Not that we're in different generations. But,
I know. I was like, excuse me, I am not that much older than you here, okay? I have dated every guy I've ever dated is probably younger than you. Wait,
it's true.
It is true. Probably.
Wait, not every guy.
Not every guy. No, you're right.
Yeah. So I'm just saying we have different approaches to the video thing where I don't mind if a guy that I'm dating or seeing, if he wants to like randomly call me or randomly FaceTime me, I find it delightful and I will do it back to them. I won't always answer though. Like if I don't feel like I'm camera ready, I'll say, hold on, let me call you back in 5 minutes.
I mean, it takes a couple weeks for me to be like, okay, you can see me camera not ready. I mean, there's not that much of a difference though, to be honest. Who are we fooling over here? But I don't know. It feels like an aggressive move. It feels like a quick like, hey, is now a good time to FaceTime? It would just be appreciated. I don't know.
It's a very millennial approach.
Maybe that's just me. Also, aside from the fact that I'm a real estate agent, if I was not a real estate agent, like truly, how dare you call me? Like anybody. How dare you call my phone number? I don't want to talk to you. Send me a text message. Honestly, how dare you email me? Like just send me a text message. Or, you know, when somebody first introduced me to the wonderful world of audio messages, like why do I ever need to make a phone call again?
And that's actually how this podcast was born, was through our constant audio messages back and forth that we affectionately named the the podcast.
Yeah.
And now we were like, you know what? Let's take this show on the road.
You know, we have sent each other over the course of not even a year such an amount of audio messages that truly we just needed to start hitting record for the rest of the world too, because what wasted conversations. If we don't share these gems with the universe. Oh man. But yeah, it is interesting. I wonder, what do you find like younger men, let's say, how do most of them like to communicate?
Poorly.
Oh, poorly. It doesn't even matter the method. You know what? The method is not at all.
Yeah, and I think that's where some of the, I noticed the youngness, I'll put it that way, where there seems to be like a lack of intentionality. And I think it's just maybe because I feel like the youths of this day, I feel very old saying that. I just feel like they're very, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's like they're not committed. Very commitment phobic.
Commitment phobic for sure. You know, and that's
so
just,
it's like, ugh.
It's probably a product of, you know, the digital world, the dating apps, the swipe culture, all of it, right?
There's
Maybe
all of that. Where I'm at that place where I know what I want and I know what I'm looking for, and I'm not really willing to settle for something that isn't that, and I don't really want to waste my time with something that, or someone that isn't that. And that's where I think sometimes with younger guys, they're still trying to figure out what they want in life, still trying to figure out where they're going and what they're doing. And there's just kind of like, they're wishy-washy. We'll put it that way. And I just, I don't have the patience for it. And first-time home buyers can be that way too, because they don't necessarily know what they want.
Yeah, they don't know what. You don't know.
Like, I don't know. This is what my budget is, and I kind of have this idea, but I don't really know. And I think I have a lot more patience with my clients on that stuff. Where I'm like,
well, I hope
this
so.
is a big investment. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, buying a house is a huge commitment. It's a huge commitment. Yeah, so I get the wishy-washy. And then when you don't know what's out there, too, you know, I understand wanting to look and look and look. I mean, it is very similar, actually. Like the more that I think about it. But yeah, we definitely have to have a lot of patience with first-time home buyers. But I think the reason it's easy to have so much patience with them too is because it's like such a special thing to share with them. Like it's really like nothing else. Yeah,
Dating
less so with the dating issue.
Like nothing else. So.
Have you ever
what
had?
are you trying to say, Amber? I'm like, is dating us not special? Like,
oh, it's so special. It's so special. Sometimes people don't even realize it.
It's true.
Have you ever had the people who just do the one-word replies of text messages, and that's like their communication?
It's not allowed. So a guy that I was seeing previously, we actually made a rule that was not allowed within our texting. No one-word replies. No just like liking something, there had to be an actual response. And that's for good or bad. It had its moments of
Yeah. I mean, like we've said, like not everybody likes to text message, but like when you don't know that, sometimes it's really easy to take it personally. Or they'll put a lot of effort into texting at the beginning and then that just kind of fades away and fades away and fades away. I've literally had a guy reply back like just repeating the same thing I've said, and it's usually just like 1 or 2 words, to the point where I just keep saying it back to see if they'll catch on with how annoying it is, and they never do. Just like, hi there, hi there, hi, hey, 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 hi. Like, it's a lot to carry on an entire conversation.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a similar story to that. And this wasn't a younger guy. I don't know. Should I save this story for another day? We call him Squirrel Boy. I think we'll have to save this conversation for another day.
Okay.
This story it's so stupid that, you know what? I'll just go ahead and tell. I already started this whole thing. But just because, you're talking about the hi back and forth and you're just kind of repeating things.
Yeah.
So this guy found me on Snapchat. No. Let's back up. He found me on Tinder. This is many years ago.
Every good story starts this way.
Right.
By the way.
Found me on Tinder many years ago. We did not match. So then he found me on Snapchat and added me. Lots of sketchiness kind of to begin with this whole thing. But anyways, we took it off Snapchat. We're communicating. We had done some different FaceTimes. He lived like an hour away. And this is while I'm doing real estate. So I'm like trying to be focused. I'm trying to do like my prospecting in the morning, doing my cold calls, have my morning routine. And this man, he got up later than I did, which is fine. But he would text me in the middle of my prospecting time and he'd just be like, hi. And so then I'd, kind of get back to him and be like, hi. And he's like, how are you? And I'd be like, I'm good. How are you? And then he like wouldn't reply. And then the next day, hey. And I'm like, hey. And then he's like, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. How are you? So sometimes he'd say good, sometimes he wouldn't say anything. And then the next day, good morning. And I'm like, okay, good morning. Why do we keep repeating the same thing over and over again where we're just saying good morning and how are you? Good morning, how are you? This happened for a week straight. I almost lost my mind, Amber, because I cannot do that. Why are you texting me if you do not have anything to say?
No, truly. Oh,
Just
the nothing text
bother.
message. The nothing text message is so infuriating.
Yes.
And I like to think, and maybe this is me being delusional, but I like to think it's, because we are such interesting, intelligent, articulate women with so many interesting things to say that I think the load gets put on us because not everybody can carry a conversation, and it's not fair. But it does get really, really, really old. Like when we cannot find a match that can also bring up the intellect and the personality of the conversation. It's just so low effort. And it's like, how many girls are you just sending that? What you doing?
Good morning.
Hi.
How are you? Good
Morning.
How are you?
Emoji. Tap that. It's like, come on.
I would go for the guy that can make me laugh or like carry on an interesting conversation over the guy who has a 12-pack and like model good looks any day. Unless the guy with the 6-pack, 12-pack, model good looks can also carry on a conversation, then hit the jackpot there. But
yeah, regardless of age. Yeah, regardless of age, like that is definitely more important. Okay, so quick question for you. How do you feel, since we are both women, so if we're dating someone younger, it's like usually older woman, younger man would be the typical scenario for both of us probably. So how do you feel like when women are called cougars?
So I feel like there was such a negative connotation around that term when I was growing up of like this desperate older woman who's like just trying to hang on to her youth in any way that she possibly can. She's probably drinking a little too much wine, spending too much time out at the bars, and just like throwing herself at these younger men.
But then maybe it shifted, like Stacy's mom has got it going on kind of vibes.
Yeah, and Stella got her groove back.
Stella got a groove.
Like it's kind of shifted, and I guess you and I would be considered pumas because we're younger, so we're not quite cougars just yet.
I mean, like, let's be honest about my age here. No, let's not. But okay, but here's the thing that gets me, and this is not the cross I'm going to die on for feminism by any means. But why are women called these like predatory animals when there's an age difference? And like, have you ever heard of a man who is dating a younger woman like being called anything? Because it's just so widely accepted. This is what we need to talk about, is like how much easier it is for society to not blink an eye at an age gap when the man is older.
Yeah.
Not blink an eye, even significant, even 10 years.
I mean, I guess 10 years can be significant depending on the age.
Yeah, depending on both parties' ages. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
So like, I would say when I was 21 and had these guys who were 10 years older than me, 10 plus years older, trying to date me, probably not a good move on their part. That was red flags. And my mom actually said a lot during that time where she's like, I feel like they're trying to steal your sparkle. They're trying to steal your light. And I didn't get it when I was younger.
Yeah.
But like now that I've gotten older, I'm like, oh my gosh, like mom was so right about all of these things. And I was like, thank goodness I have good parents who are like they're looking out for those things. But I guess for me, like all the women in my family have married men who are a little bit younger than them.
Oh, so it's very normal for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there's huge age gaps. Like my mom's a year older than my dad. My aunt's a few months older than her husband. My sister-in-law is 3 years older than my brother. And it's worked out just fine.
I have heard, and I don't like have the stats in front of me, so we're not going to take this as a complete scientific fact. But in general, women live longer than men too.
They do.
And I think the average, at least in our country, is about 8 years. So if you want to die at the same time as your partner, assuming you're wanting a long-term, maybe monogamous partner that you do life with, shouldn't we all be with somebody 8 years younger than us if our partner is going to be a man?
I think so. I mean, again, this is why I've been trending towards those younger men.
Yeah.
They have more energy. They're going to live almost as long as I do. And they just, I don't know, it's more fun, not as set in their ways. So it's like we can grow and do life together versus these older guys who are just, I don't know, giving up, I guess.
Giving up?
I don't know. I feel like some of these older guys that I've dated, I'm like, why are you like this? Why is everything just so hard?
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of funny. I think once we get over to just kind of like the surprise, for me, when I dated younger guys on accident, it was always a bit of a surprise. And once got over the surprise, and then also, I have to be honest, got over a little bit of overthinking about what other people would think about it and say about it. Once I got past that, you know, there really wasn't an issue, I guess, until there was an issue.
Well, I guess I've never really thought about what other people would think about the age of the guy that I was dating.
Do you think people would bat an eye if you dated somebody 9 or 10 years younger than you?
I would bat an eye if I dated somebody 9 or 10 years younger than me.
See, there you go. But
that's because I feel like 25 is too young for me.
Oh, yeah. I forget. You're younger than me.
Yeah.
It is too young for you. You are right. That is a scientific fact, everybody. 25 is too young. A 25-year-old man is too young for anybody to date.
Seriously. No, I think for me, the youngest is maybe 28.
Yeah.
And like, at 28, I feel like you should have a good grasp on who you are as a person, where you're going in life, and while you may not have like achieved all of your goals, you are on that path.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's more in line with where I'm at. I feel like we could still grow together versus like at 25, I feel like you're still figuring yourself out. A lot of people are still figuring themselves out.
Yeah.
They don't know what they want. And I just don't. I don't think I'm in that space. I know I'm not in that space. But 28, I feel like we could be a little bit more aligned.
Yeah, there's
30,
probably some.
Yeah, for sure. Like, we're in our 30s. If you don't have your life figured out by now, then you're not the one for me, boo-boo. Sorry.
Wait, by the way, there are people that have their life figured out? Aspects.
Right,
Aspects of it. Okay. Asking for a friend, obviously.
Right, totally not for you.
I have everything totally together over here. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, even with, there's always going to be exceptions and one-offs to that. I'm sure there are some incredibly mature 22 to 25-year-old men who do know what they want.
We see a lot of that in the real estate industry. We see a lot of these like young agents who are in their early 20s and they are killing it. And it's because they're very focused on what they're doing. And I mean, all my parents got married young, and brother and sister-in-law got married youngish, and they knew where they were going. They know what they're doing with their lives. So it's not an age number that specifically defines where you're at in life.
Yeah.
It's just,
and even on the client side of real estate too, with first-time home buyers, there's definitely a spectrum that no matter what, I mean, sometimes it might have to do with their actual age, but some of them are really going to have it together. And even though they've never done it before, they're going to really know exactly what they want. And it will be, you know, not a whole lot of education and not a whole lot of this or that. They've maybe done a lot of the work ahead of time on their own. And other ones, not so much. They do need a lot of the hand-holding and special care and all that stuff. Like the average first-time home buyer. So kind of interesting.
Well, either way, I think working with first-time home buyers and first-time home sellers, regardless of their age, it can be very rewarding. I always love it, having that, being part of that moment, you know, in their lives of like, okay, I bought my first house, or we did our first sale and, you know, first repeat. And it's super rewarding to be able to be part of that. And I don't know, dating younger guys can sometimes be rewarding as well.
It can sometimes be rewarding when you teach a younger guy how to do
Although,
things.
do I want to foster men before they like go to their forever homes? No, I don't.
We are doing the Lord's work over here.
Gosh, training everyone.
Oh my gosh. That might be another podcast for another day. I don't know if this is the right channel for that, but oh, that is so funny. Yeah, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with dating younger men. I highly recommend it to any woman out there. But according to me and Becca, definitely not 25-year-old men, though, specifically.
I'm so sorry. Please remove yourself from the running.
You are not in the running. But, you know, maybe age 28 and up. We'll say roughly.
But don't send Amber any DMs. She is not accepting.
No DMs. That's a good rule of thumb always. Just don't you dare.
Her.
Don't you dare FaceTime me. There's a lot of rules of things not to do with me. Some of them are logical and some of them are not. And we have a lot more conversations to have about those. And I just can't wait. But I'm so glad everyone tuned in today while we talked about dating younger men.
Yes. So whether you're a puma or a cougar or just a girl in the market, be sure to like and subscribe. And we'll see you next week.